Welcome everyone, my name's Greg. Today I am going to be going over the War Dog units. This will be a two-part video. The first one will be a very basic introduction to the War Dog units, and the second will be a bit more detailed and a bit more of a rundown of the commander choices I would make with them and the statistics behind them. Both will include a short battle which will highlight the basics of playing the War Dogs. So first of all, how do the War Dogs work? They are a combination of two separate units. We have the Handlers and we have the War Dogs, two separate entities that are bound by the Unleash and Leashing mechanisms. So the Dogs are an aggressive unit which can be deployed to a location on the map within an area of range, similar to an archer's range. Once the Dogs are unleashed, they will run to the location that you specify, and they will only deviate if they detect an enemy unit on the way. What they will do then is they'll latch onto that unit and then they'll perform a charge. Once latched on, that charge into the unit will cause a knockdown and then they'll begin attacking. They will keep attacking that unit and stay latched on until either the enemy dies, you die, or another unit comes into that engagement and they latch onto that unit and the original target drops off. If the enemy unit dies, they will continue running to their destination and they will only come back if you click the unleash button again, which would technically be a releash. The Handlers are a very low armor unit, which can be used in hand-to-hand combat, and there's a few abilities which make them slightly viable as a infantry unit. They've got a good flanking morale, flank damage, and they have a slam which can slow down the enemy units. Depending on your playstyle, there are 4 separate commanders you can choose from. The Barbarian faction has Arminius, Vercingetorix, Boudica, and Ambiorix. If you're interested in a bit more detail on that, my second video will run through those commanders in a bit more detail and which commander I would choose for the War Dogs. For the video I'm going to play today, I'm going to take out Arminius, which is the starter Barbarian commander, just because that's a bit more indicative of where you'd be starting off at. If the Dogs die, you do need to go back to a healing or spawn zone. You can't heal if the Dogs are unleashed, so you do need to releash them before you heal. If all of the Dogs are dead and you go back to heal and you click releash or the unleash button again, you will automatically start healing again because there's no Dogs to run back. So the strength of War Dogs, they are very good against artillery. They're not subject to stakes, so they'll run straight through the stakes and hit the artillery and kill them off very quickly. They're strong against cavalry once they're latched on. Very strong against ranged units like javelins, archers, crossbows. They're very good against pikes and spears, and they're pretty reasonable against quite a lot of the infantry, though in a prolonged engagement the heavy infantry will win that out. There's a few caveats to what they're good against, because they're also bad against them, which I'll go through now. So the weaknesses. They are weak against elephants, obviously Dogs against elephants. They're weak against infantry units with multiple strike moves. Guan Yu glaives with Green Dragon Strike, Leonidas spears with Shield Bash, and Folkers seem to do pretty well against them too. They are weak against ranged fire or cavalry charges. So with those two, it's like they are good against it once they're latched on, but they're also very weak against it in the process of getting to those units. So if you unleash them and the enemy has vision of them, then what the enemy range unit can do is they can fire onto the Dogs and they'll kill them really quickly, or the cavalry can charge into them and kill them, and you will actually lose out on that engagement quite badly. They will kill off your Dogs before the Dogs can actually do any damage at all. So it's kind of like a risk and reward situation, very much dependent on where you unleash the Dogs to, as to whether they're going to get vision. You don't want to be unleashing them into the open, or in a position where they're potentially going to give vision of themselves to the enemy for a period of time when they're trying to reach their destination. So you do need to be very careful with where you unleash them to. And that's pretty much it for the War Dogs. It's simply a case of the Handler, the Dogs, you're unleashing into a location, they latch on, they attack, and then they come back when they're either dead or when there's a couple of dogs left. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through the consumables you have, and we'll jump into a battle and see how we go. What I would generally discourage you from doing is taking the actual consumable item. So barbaric display, it's pretty useless. Dirt pouch is pretty useless. And you have 3 pretty reasonable static buffs that you can add on to the units. You have Feast, Spar, and Swear Oaths. I'm going to be taking out Swear Oaths just because for this battle I'm going to be taking out Arminius, and he has some nice speed buffs which will allow me to zip around the map quite well, and we're going to supplement that with Swear Oath, so plus 7% movement speed and impact damage. It does kind of go counter with my normal playstyle, which is Vercingetorix, and I would be taking Spar and Swear Oaths at a higher tier because there are some additional buffs which make them quite good. But for this one, let's go Arminius and the tier 4 second strays, and let's see how we go in battle. Okay, so we've loaded in here on Changban. It is a pretty reasonable map for the War Dogs. There is quite a few pockets of trees around where you can deploy the dogs into, and you've got a pretty good level of protection in terms of vision. Generally, if I'm on the A team, I would be going towards the A capture point, defending that, and deploying into the large block of trees just in front of the large rock structure. On the flip side of the map, I'd be still on that same side, but I'd be deploying into the larger block of trees. On the other side of the river, this map is split in half by the large river through the middle. And that is a bit of an issue when it comes to deploying the dogs over the river. You don't want to do that too early. If ranged get vision on you, they're going to wipe out your dogs. I did notice that the other dog player on my team decided to select the 9 location, so I moved over to the other side of the map. I did end up commentating this afterwards because I wasn't really happy with how I'd end up commentating it, and it ended up being a 30-minute game, so I didn't really want to have you listen to my voice for 30 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll slap on one of the music tracks, and you can listen to that throughout the battle. You can see I am just checking the composition of the enemy team, quite a few familiar faces on the enemy team, and I have deployed into that tree section here, so they don't have vision on me yet. I can launch a surprise attack and then begin my battle. So you can see the dogs have already latched on there, going to send another unit in. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to let you watch this battle. If you want, stick around. It was very interesting. I normally would have created a video out of this and posted it up, but you know, I played this straight after doing the videos, so I will add it onto here. It does make the video very long, but just watch it, see what you think. Let me know in the comments section whether you like the War Dog unit, whether you think you would play it more, whether you'd like more content on the War Dogs. I can go into a bit more detail on them. I do have that second video coming out which does go into more detail. If you'd like me to play one of the other commanders on them, I can easily unlock Boudica once I get a bit more gold or XP up. She's the only one I don't have that I would potentially play the War Dog units on, so you know, I might look at her next, but for me, Vercingetorix is my pick of the commanders, which I go into a lot more detail on in the next video, so I would definitely stick around for that. It'll be out in the next couple of days. And give that a watch, because I do go over the tactics of the War Dogs in a lot more detail. This is a very basic introduction to them, and this video highlights some of the basic gameplay of the War Dogs. You don't have to be on offense the whole time. You can be defense. You can supplement your team, and you can do some very, very good damage at any tier with the War Dogs. You don't have to be a tier 10 War Dog unit to do a lot of damage with them. They are very forgiving, and you know, in a majority of battles you're probably looking at doing at least 1,000 kills, which is very, very respectable, and you can make a massive contribution to your team's battle effort
at any tier of the War Dogs. So if you play them conservatively, you can do well, or if you play them very aggressively, you can do well too. It just purely depends on how you like to play them, which is a very subjective thing for anyone. And hopefully I'm going to see you out there playing the War Dog units soon, and you can give me a run for my money. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. As I said before, give it a comment, hopefully a like, and I will see you out on the battlefield sometime soon. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.